Hello, and once again, welcome to all the new subscribers that have joined us over the last few days. There have been hundreds, and you're more than welcome. If you live outside the UK, you won't be really au fait with Vestel, even though it says Toshiba. It's made by a company called Vestel, and it's just stamped Toshiba, kind of the America's equivalent to Vizio, I think. I'm only guessing. Well, and whenever I get a Vestel in, I have to do a bit of research because there are so many of these that have had failing screens over the last couple of years that you have to check first, because if it is one of those, it's just pointless getting the customer to bring it in. Anyway, it's not. It's a good set as far as I know. Not terribly old, as you could see from the label, just a couple of years. So the backlights aren't coming on. And you can see that we have an image in the background. Customer states that the picture does come on, then it goes off, then it does come on, then it goes off. As you can see, we've got a Netflix icon there. So it's not a screen issue. So what's the problem? So at the moment, I'm thinking it's going to be a capacitor on the power supply, because some of these used to bulge and the capacitor would blow and then the backlights would be intermittent. I've seen it quite a few times on Vestel power supplies, not necessarily this model. I can't believe the backlights are at fault, because the TV is from March 2020, which, yeah, I know is 4 years, but backlights are really doing well at the moment. They're being built to a higher standard. 5 years ago, we were getting backlight problems all the time. But at the moment, no, that's not the case. It's more screen issues currently. And again, I don't think this is a screen issue. I'm going to have a look at the capacitor here, just to see it's got any signs of bulging on it, just to see if any electrolytic juice has popped out. Let's just have a look. And to be honest with you, that looks absolutely fine. That's not bulging. It's obvious when the capacitor that's on the backlight rail starts to fail. So I'm now thinking that it's got to be the backlights. So I'm having a look at the screen model number. There it is. And I will go and just price up a set of backlights in a second. But before I do that, I just want to get my backlight tester and do something I used to do about 2 or 3 years ago on a common basis. So I'm going to try, it's not try, I will get the LED tester to power these backlights up. So I've unplugged it from the power supply, and I'm just trying to get the contacts correct. They're a bit small, so it's a bit finicky. But if you look where the arrows are, you will see that the backlights are starting to come up. And they're staying up, and they're okay. But there still could be 1 or 2, 3 or 4 that have gone. So now what I'm going to do is plug it back into the power supply and see. And it does. Nobody else seems to do this trick. It's something that I discovered, I don't know, about 3 years ago with dirty contacts on the LED strips. Let's just see if the TV has a picture now. And we've got a perfect image. Well, I always thought the image was going to be perfect anyway, because it's not a screen issue. It may become a screen issue because the next stage, unfortunately, and it's a lot of work for what is a little bit of soldering, but the next stage is to completely disassemble this TV. We've got to remove the screen. I'll confirm that all the backlights are working, and if it is this fault, normally all the backlights are working, and I've got to do a little bit of cleanup. Now, a lot of people would possibly say, well, TV's working, now you've solved it, give it back to the customer, make some money. Now, this will go faulty again within 2 or 3 weeks, I promise you. It'll be fine for a couple of weeks, but then it will go faulty again. We've got to find the cause, and the cause is normally pretty obvious. So now it's time for the delicate bit. I've done this so many times, you do get used to it, and this particular screen is not one of the highest quality. It's got quite a bit of wobble to it, so you do have to be careful. But if you're just slow and gentle and put your hands in the correct place. I don't wear gloves because I need to be able to grip the screen. Can't grip it with gloves. It'll all get cleaned afterwards. But once the screen is out, I can then take out the diffusers and we can have a look at the backlights. I'm struggling with space today. I mean, 55 inches is usually my limit. I'll do 60 at a push. I don't like going higher than that. But I've got little space in the workshop today. I've had 7 TVs turn up. I'm normally getting between 2 and 3 TVs a day. For the last couple of weeks, it's been 4 or 5, and today it's been 7. I just don't know what's going on, but I'm not complaining because they've all turned out to be fixable ones. So let me just show you what I believe the problem is. And this actually does prove the problem. Here are the contacts. This is the soldered tips that connect to the backlight strips. And they just go dirty. I mean, that one's okay. It's a bit scratched up. But that's a bad one. You can see the 2 holes in it. You're not supposed to be able to see those. That's not great. Let's have a look at another one. No, they're okay, but not fantastic. That one's a bit scratched up from me tugging it out, but it's all right. That one's terrible. Look at those 2 holes there. That's really bad. We'll go further along. Oh, yeah, that one definitely. That could be the main culprit. Well, there's quite a few. That's okay-ish. But the problem is they're not going to make contact. And also, this is a funny design. I've never come across this before. Normally, it's a whole one bit, but they've decided to solder it together with bendy wires. Very strange. So I'm just going across all of these backlights. Just with my soldering iron and a little bit of solder, and I'll show you how I've done it. It's just like this. No extra flux is needed, and you just want to coat them. You can't make it too thick because remember, it's a plug-in socket design, so you've got to make sure that this goes in that socket. So putting too much solder on can cause extra problems. But anyway, and that is it. You just cover up the holes that are there. You just make them clean. It's basically a complete dry join, but for the backlights. And that is it. I've done it all the way. I would say that 50% of them were poor. I'm very surprised that we got many of them to work in the first place. Don't ask me why using the LED tester gets them working again. I really don't know. It just kind of brings them back to life. I don't know how it cleans them, but it seems to. I'll just tap around to see if there's any loose contacts, but it's never loose contacts that's the problem with these. It's just always dirty contacts, but they're all cleaned up. They're all back in. I've never seen it on a 55-inch before. It's normally the 43s that were suffered, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what size the screen is. Dirty contacts on the backlights will happen on all the strips, especially the ones that Vestel seem to use. We've got the Toshiba boot-up screen, got the Splash logo, and as long as I get to see the apps pop up, which I'm sure I do, yeah, and that's it. That's fine. I'll keep it on test, but if you have this problem, not always going to be a backlight fault, just needs a clean.